example was in this case. So we had the same pattern going up, going up, going up. We lose that trend line. We sweep up the lows. And then what we do, we go and visit our next immediate support. In this case, where was our next immediate support? At previous lows. And we had there if I'm not mistaken, yep, it was not only a liquidity zone, but also we had a predictive range. That was what we were expecting at that point. All right, so right now, what is it going on? I don't expect just now for this to play out. All right, I don't think this is going to happen. I do believe that we're going to be better yet doing something. You know what? Let me throw it. Doing something like this. All right, and why is that? Because we just bounce out of here. We should be going higher, at least at equal or the same areas that we are in here, then maybe going to the threshold zone to create either a goose head, which a goose head is a farther move to the upside for then a bigger retracement. That will look like going up to the resistance, farther up to the upside for a bigger retracement, and then still create a higher low. All right, that's what I believe that we're going to be seeing. And then coming back down for the next immediate support, which in that case will be this trend line. If for the contrary, we do not create a goose head, instead we have a sharp rejection like in here, like something like that, I believe that we're going to be seeing this zigzag movement, all right? Going down, I mean, Fadi, my friend, TP, what's up, bro? Basically going up, having the sharp flip of the ribbon, and then going to our next big support. Something interesting, and I want to let you know, guys, it is that when you look at your dynamic reactor, and I see, there we go, I see PepMX, that he has a rifle or a shotgun in there. So you don't aim at where is it, right? You usually aim at where is it going to be, right? Correct? So basically, you don't look for, well, this is the support. Yeah, but we're moving upwards, right? So what happens afterwards? We go to the resistance, whatever it needs to happen there, right? Either sharp reverse, right? Or sweep of the highs, and then reversed. And then what are we looking for? Based on time, where is, or how is it going to be reacting my dynamic reactor? I usually, what I do is just do a projection, right? I forecast it, like kind of like I just see how is it smoothly moving, and then kind of like I follow along, all right? Based on the movement that I'm looking for. So if I'm looking, for example, for a retracement, I sometimes, and most of the times, I do acknowledge that retracement and do a slight push downwards here. Sensen, welcome. Come out stage if you want, of course. Varitek or Varitek. What's up, bro? Welcome. All right. So that's what I'm expecting, all right? So far, this is not the doomsday. I think that US has a lot to offer, especially now. And why is that? Remember that when you create, when you're playing chess, all right, you create a sense of safety for the other, for your opponent, to move into that position, all right? And we're not talking about chess, especially if you get what I'm saying, right? We're talking about politics, right? And then your opponent can or cannot follow your trap, right? Not sure what's going on. I'm not going to pretend that I know exactly what's happening, because nobody does except for the close circle of Donald Trump and its advisors, all right? Remember that in the morning I showed you that one of those guys mentioned that U.S. economy is the strongest, or depth, it is one of the strongest of them all, right? And then we looked at what happened with Japan. Japan was planning to increase its cost of visiting for the tourism. And then what happens? Well, then its economy started kind of like a flashing down, right? At this point, they're looking to cut down the GDP. They're looking what's going on. Everybody's selling their, what was it, the 20-year bond? I don't quite remember. So it's not like they're panicking, but they're calling it the worst case scenario, right? Any questions so far? All right. So that is just so hot in here. And so what happens? Well, if you're the strongest of them all, even if everybody is going to, is going, if everything is going to shed, well then, you're still the strongest one, right? I mean, even if you're in a plane that is crashing, if you're the strongest one, you have the highest possibility to come out alive, right? And I don't want to panic you guys, nothing like that. The complete opposite. What I'm saying here is that China is talking now about retaliation on chips. They're talking about back onto, are you going your way to the United States? Remember that news, all right? And also applying or suspending the tariff depending on what U.S. does, all right? So what's going to happen? Have you seen also the latest airplane, I think, commercial or ad from China? It was CGI, very bad CGI, by the way. But they were showing off the UAV something. It is a kind of like a Hercules. And then on that Hercules, there was just thousands or hundreds upon hundreds of smaller drones just flying out of it, right? So what are they doing? Well, they're putting some pressure or safety, depending which part of which team you are on, right? On the people. So if you're from China, well, then you're saying, well, my country has the means to sustain and defend, right? If you're not from China and you're from the States or close around, that being said, Mexico, you're saying, hey, China is putting some psychological pressure, all right? So then how does that impact Bitcoin? So why is it all that blah, 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 right? Remember that Bitcoin is designed to be a safekeeping, right? Or at least a not losing that much value, if we can put it in simple terms, when a depression or a correction comes into global markets. How it does it? Well, first of all, we want Bitcoin, all right? We want Bitcoin to follow along the markets. That being said, when the markets, the globe is just going or suffering, financially talking, we also want to see that reflects on Bitcoin, all right? The important part so far till now, all right? And this is, remember, that's what we want for the short-term scenario of Bitcoin. So what happens right now? We've seen COVID. Remember how much we fall? We fall like, it was like 70%? Or is 50%? Don't quite remember, right? We can still drop and drop harder. Why is that? Because of the market capitalization of a coin, right? But also, how long does it take Bitcoin to get back on its feet? Not only that, break new highs, right? Right now, how is economy? Well, then, if we take a look at the S&P 500, it's not doing that bad, right? And let's zoom out on Bitcoin and compare what's going on in here. Guys, give me just 1 second. Sí, pero para eso puse, la cosa es que ahí va a venir gente. Entonces, sí, pasas por acá, sí, pero igual a partir de mañana sería con escalera o algo así. Lo que pasa es que no voy a tener control del acceso. Vale. Sí, no te preocupes. Dejé la llave pegada ahí, si no me equivoco, en la puerta principal. Sí, dale. All right, sorry about that. Just finishing up a couple of things. In there, let me invite you. Hey, TRADEFLY, how's it going, my friend? All right, so having said that, all right, so Bitcoin, it's keeping value, right? So, but also we want Bitcoin to follow along what's happening in the markets, right? So basically, if the markets are going bad, well, then we also want not to Bitcoin to go bad, right? So don't fall like crash or anything, but at least reflect with a pullback. Why is that? Because if we want to Bitcoin to be considered real asset value, it needs to be tied to real assets in the real world, right? It not only needs to be contained by miners, not only needs to be contained by we want something of it, like gold, for example, right? It also needs to be controlled and tied to real values, market cap being put into it. That means grabbing the trust from fiat and putting it on transferring it into Bitcoin, all right? So once again, let's go over S&P and let's take a look at what is, how is it looking like for S&P, right? This is the 12 hours. We see S&P going extremely parabolic to the downside and then having a V-shaped recovery. Usually a V-shaped recovery, this is not something that we actually are planning for. This is something that happens and reveals that the bulls are taking back control. How does it happen? It needs to be influx of money. That's it. Remember, the S&P 500 is the 500 most valuable enterprises, right? Or entities in the United States that create not only assets or services, but also create value, right? So they sustain debt. What else in here? Well, then we are breaking through. Perfect. We are seeing that we are at previous highs, so it's very close to it, right? So we have two options. We either retrace and find some support, which I believe that is what we'll be looking for, right? I see some weakness. Why? Because we don't see, this was a goose hit, and we didn't went all the way up, all right? Then what happens? At this point, we go up, and this is what I will be expecting. But better yet, I would like it to reverse first, keep going up, create a bearish divergence, go all the way down, impact the dynamic reactor, all right, and then bounce. What's happening with Bitcoin? Let's take a look at Bitcoin right now. Come on, Bitcoin, update. Do we see a V-shaped recovery? Are we depegging? Are we going lower? Or what are we actually doing? Let me just clear this up so we can see it clearly. We are ranging, right? We are ranging. Remember that ranging, it's another way of correcting. Let's go to a cleaner chart in here. Let's see if I have any drawings. Perfect. I think, let me just keep this one. Is it locked? Perfect. That's it. And let me see, do I have something important? Nope, that is it. Username, what's up, my friend? Jesse, what's up, guys? Welcome. Jump back up. Jump in. All right, let me clear this up now. Do we see a V-shaped recovery here? I mean, based on, oh, come on. You got to be kidding me. I'm chasing after two assets. All right, S&P, SPX. That's it. All right. So based on this, on the 12th hour here, we did have this maybe pullback. It started somewhere around what, February the 20th. All right. So where is February the 20th? February the 20th. There you go. And well, then what happens with S&P? Remember that it doesn't trade weekends. All right, that's why it's a little shorter. What happens? All the way back down here to Monday the 7th. Let's take a look at when we had Monday the 7th. Right here. We were already going up, and then we have a delay. All right, we created a bullish divergence, hidden bullish divergence, then breakout, retest, off we go. So is it pegged? Kind of. Is it equally pegged? Not really. But we're seeing Bitcoin doing overall the same movement. Great. I mean, right now, we are back at where we started, right? So that's awesome. SPX is not there yet, all right? And this is, I think, what we were waiting for. At least this is what I was expecting to have the previous cycle. So not a real depegging, but kind of like a following the market, the big global structure, all right? So can you call me the, what? Uncle Jesse said, you can call me the letter king, absolutely. All right, so I wasn't paying attention to the messages. So I think this is going to be important. Why is that? Let me go back in time, all right? And let me zoom out on the 4 days or even in the weekly. But for that, we need to go to There we go, right here. And I know I touched this many, many times, but let's just do a quick refreshment. We have this movement, how big of a drop we had in here, all right? This was a blow off top, all right? And we have a retracement of 65%, all right? This itty bitty tiny movement, now it looks like an itty bitty tiny movement. That was a 65% drop, all right? Then what happens? This other drop in here, what was this drop like? Well, then all the way here, that was a 68, all right? Then look at how we went parabolic here. Something important to note that we are not logarithmic, all right? Why is that? Because right now it is representing the actual as is market cap increment, all right? How much money there is based on the fluctuation of the market, all right? There are certain things that sometimes we need to use logarithmic. It is a smoothing factor, if we can call it like that, all right? Let me be very vague about this. Logarithmic, it is a smoothing factor that takes into consideration market cap. I'll show you that in a second, just so you understand. But so far, look at how this 68.39% changes of value as I go up. If I go up, it reduces its value, right? And I haven't changed the shape. Same tickers, all right? Same points up, same points down. And if I go lower, that increments its value. You see that? Well, then that's negative. We can argue incremental, but I would say that basically that is problem solved, right? That's what we're looking for. Look at how. Why is it that if I go up and down, it changes? Because this same rock, let's call it a rock, right? Let's just say that right here, I have a, I don't know, $10 million, right? This is a rock, same size, $10 million. $10 million where you need a market cap of, I don't know, $30 million to be here. Well, then what is it compared to? That $10 million to, I don't know, this case would be $60 million. Something close about a 15. But if we have a different market cap, all right, let me see if I can grab this. We have a lower market cap, that same amount of money. It is a bigger percentage of the products. Just look at for. You were saying, Sinsen?
That's sweet. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you hear me.
Oh, sorry, I thought you had a question. So I just wanted to make sure that I answered it.
Apologize.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Don't worry. No worries. So talking about this, imagine that Bitcoin, it's a puddle of water, right? How big of that body of water is? If it's just a puddle of water and you grab a stone, right? I don't know, a 2-pound stone, and you throw it to that, you're going to disturb that puddle of water very, very heavily, right? But if you grab that same stone, same amount of money, you throw it into a lake, well then, yes, technically it's displacing the same amount of water, but into relation to a lake, that is basically nothing, right? And then if you take that same rock and you throw it into the river, again, different reaction. And if you throw it into the sea, it's just gonna be meaningless, all right? So that's what's happening when we have more market cap. So there's more money, the reactions are getting more difficult to manipulate the market, right? Therefore, we see increment of shapes. So for example, let me show you that we have in here, and if I zoom in, this is kind of like an M pattern and going downwards. If we add more market cap, we have the same M pattern and then falling back below. Something that happens in Bitcoin, and this is called a fractal, and want you guys to notice this, it is that Bitcoin loves to do range flags, all right? So if we range enough, then we break to the upside. So let me ask you a question. Is it that Bitcoin is trying to make that range? I think so. The only thing that is lacking, it's enough market cap to have enough holders that hold the price at the same zone. right? So what's going on in here? If we zoom out and then we see that the difference between this length and this length, this was 3 times as big. This time should be twice as big or somewhere around that ballpark, right? So what would that be 3 times or 2 times, depending where we take it, where we consider the movement? Well, then we usually consider it from bottom to top, from bottom to top, right? From bottom to top, it should be already be playing out, which means we could be having maybe slight higher high, but then a retracement. Maybe in this cycle, we have a triple top, right? That, I don't know that. I'm at this point speculating. I believe that it's going to be almost exact replica as this one, but bigger, all right? So how do I profit of this? First of all, you already have it, going into your Discord, all right? On your Discord, and I love that plan, man. That's a fabulous plan, by the way. All right, going to your Discord, you go to your Piper Academy, all right? Yes, and this is just not a commercial or anything like that. You got it for, you already got it here because you are in the class, right? And then you go to every single Monday, what is it? Bitcoin DCA strategy, all right? And just like a clock, look at that. We have Bitcoin today. Good morning, alumni. Here's a Bitcoin DCA May 19th today. DCA 2X. Why? Because we are higher into that risk band, all right? Look at that. When we go into the, we're going from the, what was that called? Maybe a green into yellow, right? Green to yellow, and then red. Red topped out, red topped out, red topped out, red topped out, red topped out. In this case, it didn't, but that's fine. Back inside on my PC, nice and zen. Welcome. Let me invite you in here also. I think I still taking silver and copper. Yes, I do. On gold miners. Thoughts on gold miners. Gold miners. Let's take a look at gold miners. So this is something that happens. It's almost like diamonds. Do you guys have seen that all the dirt bag that is behind diamonds? If you haven't, it is basically diamond is not longer worth what it is, especially now that we have diamond manufacturer, right? Something important about diamonds right now, it is that if you can manufacture it for cheap, why is a real diamond have value? First of all, it wasn't until, what was it, 20th? That they say they started going with the campaign, was the woman's best friend? A diamond, right? A diamond is forever, it's for life. It's not bad, but what about Monsonites? It has it's almost most scale, which is hardness. It is almost as sapphire, all right? It is way much more sparkling, bright. It is also very, 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 very clear, right? So what then? Are we cross going after a shiny stone? I don't know. I think that's how we've been treated, right? But whatever. I mean, I'm not banging on you. I got my wife a diamond, all right? So I'm still part of it, right? But the point is, there is diamond hands. Oh yeah, diamond brains also, baby. But the point is that the real value of diamonds is not there. It's being manipulated. So when you buy a diamond, you want to resell it, it is not but its value, right? Something like that has happened with gold. It's been said, I cannot confirm, all right? It's been said that huge areas of gold has been found, and the gold miners have bought it and they are not exploding it. They're buying it so nobody can explode it, all right? So that means they can control the supply of gold. Well then, a difference from a diamond, which by the way, we need to understand the value of diamond, which is industrial. But the industry can create as good or better than real mined diamonds. So the actual value of diamond, it is basically what a refine, or the best time on that can the industry produce, right? It's not now by the miners. It's just like, all right, handmade or machine made, right? So if you care about, like, well, there's a human factor, but I just think that, I don't know, man, let's just not dig into it. It's just gonna go forever, right? But what happens with gold? Gold has a more industry value here. So let me bring up JR into the chat. So what do we have with miners? With value on gold, we have tech, all the pins, high conductivity at low price. All right, very ductile, almost a silver, copper, and there's more ductile like indium, I believe, but not as conductive. All right, the weight of it, which make it a great donor for electrons. All right. I think they also make it a great receiver for electrons, which means that when an electron come, can knock out another one, which is electricity transferring. All right. So just so you know that. Therefore, the value of gold, it is because, but this is what you should be knowing. You're buying gold not because it is jewelry and you're going to get paid for what is it worth for jewelry. Yes, jewelry is still a valid point, and I'll explain why in a second. But you are paying because the industry needs gold that much that the price of gold is going to be bottom up at the minimum necessary for industry to keep pushing, if that makes sense. All right. So why then we buy golds and not diamonds if they're kind of like equal? Well, gold at this point, it's still winning because have more applications, right? Well, the next thing it is no power bank with you or charge. What was it? I'm just uptown phone. Oh, I see. Got it. I mean, you entered to a Starbucks and click and connected it. Nah, just kidding. So the point is in here, there's something important that we need to understand. When we have a depression for the worst case scenario or a correction, right, on the markets, we're seeing value transfer from weaker hands, more exposed hands, to more conservative hands. All right. So what happened in, I believe, 2020 depression, right? Not 1920 depression. Well, then there was already the central bank. Central bank was not really emitting money. They were just keeping it. What happens? They waited for a big, enterprise to go broke. They buy it for pennies on the stock, and then what's up? What was it? Username? Maybe just say. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mistake maybe. So that is basically my opinion on miners. Miners of gold. If you're going for a stock of those, I would say that you're going to be also in the safe bet. That will be like using leverage on gold. All right. I wouldn't buy until I see gold, and let's go visit gold to get to a very nice support, which at this point we're not there yet. All right. So remember, how do we measure this? From the whole movement, we measure, and let's do it with the box. We measure 1/3 and 1/2. All right. So from the whole movement, this is going to be for me the whole movement, 1/2 and 1/3. So 1/3, we are right there on the 1/3, but I believe that we could be going to 1/2, and that is because we get that bearish divergence into the red cloud, and we're going downwards. So this is going to be your next entry point if you want to jump in for miners at 3,037, somewhere around here, I would say. Does that answer your? Don't worry, my friend. That's all right. Does that answers your point of what is my opinion with miners, or did you had a different perspective for me to touch on? Let me know. So, guys, any questions, or would you like me to touch back maybe on S&P? Gold, Bitcoin, lower time frames, higher time frames, any other time frame, let me know.
No, it's all clear for me.
Nice.
The market is manipulated heavily the past months, in my opinion.
Yeah, I also think so. So I completely agree with that. I mean, especially Bitcoin. Again, we want to see what's going on with the S&P, right? If we have that pullback, I believe Bitcoin is also going to have the pullback. I don't expect. I'm not at this point worried about it. We are basically on the double top, and until we start losing the trend line here, this orange trend line, I wouldn't be that worried, right? It's looking a little bit weak on the 12 hours. We have a lower high, and then an equal high. This could create a bearish divergence, but still, I just see the bearish divergence just flipping all the way down to 100K and then staying back above, right? We've seen that before. Look at this lower high, fake out, and then off we go. Where do we went to? The next big support, right? So I believe this is going to be a fractal so far. But again, prepare for your worst case scenario.
Always prepare for the worst.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys have, for example, something on profits, start taking some profits. Maybe when you take that profits, reallocate it lower, or use. Remember what we mentioned right here. You have the DCA plan, right? You have a 2x entry right now, so you can maybe allocate it onto your 2x. Or if, for example, you already have allocated your 2x and you have an extra, save it, right? Not sure what you may have for you guys right now. Right here in Mexico, we have something called New Bank, which is this new bank like that. All right, I know this is exclusive Latin America, and the important part of New Bank it is that they're giving you 15% annualized return. All right. Where is it? No, wait, I don't want this. Let me see where I can get it. Well, the point is that you can get up to 15% return annualized. All right. So no, not daily, man. That's a scam. Annualized. But but every month it will change, if that makes sense. But always hovers between 14 and 15. The lowest it has gone is 13.8, right? So what you do, you can use some tools like that. I believe that you can get what was it? I mean, Coinbase. I think they give you something like an 8% annualized, and I'm not mistaken.
6.8%, I guess, on USDC.
Oh, nice. Nice. What was it? Sorry? 0.8% annualized?
6.8%,
6.8.
I guess.
Yeah, I was also looking at that. But yeah, so 6%.
0.8% on your USDC.
That's amazing. Also, if you're in Canada, Lend, it's Canadian, and they also give you where is it? They give you interest rate. No. Where is it? They give you like also 8% on your USDC. and
Great.
yeah, it's great. And they let you do a you can borrow your local money based on your Bitcoin. So that's also something interesting. If you want to take a loan, you can do it at 12 ARP, which I don't know. I mean, I would because I get a 14% returns on Mexican pesos, right? I mean, just keep that in mind. If you can get a better rate, well, then that'll be much better, isn't it? But the point is that you can leverage yourself with this kind of tools, right? So if you have a little bit out there, remember, it's better to stay liquid and keep producing a little bit more. So because this is going to happen, when we start breaking lows, remember when we start going to the bear market, and then you start seeing the wristband going DC8 times 4, DC8 times 5. You already have those extras back making you money. What you do, you take it, you put it in here, and you already have made what, an 6% annualized there. So you still have a little bit there that keeps creating you passive income. All right. So stay liquid, be like water. Oh yes, that was an amazing one. Yeah, love it. That's beautiful.
Oh, that's beautiful for sure.
Oh yeah. By the way, we're not talking about hyperliquid.
I've
That is
seen
not a
it
coin that we're talking about now.
No, I've seen it appear in the chat and I started laughing instantly.
I see. Yeah, Sen says if you use margin on Coinbase, they make you keep your margin in USD, which is still kind of cool because I mean, well, first of all, you're taking margin, right? You're taking leverage. The next one, you already have decided that you're gonna be doing that there. Nonetheless, remember that you can transform your savings back into whatever coin you want, right? Just make sure that you're not triggering capital gains. That will be something that you need to corroborate with your local laws, right? So for me, it doesn't trigger capital gains as long as I don't transform it in Bitcoin. That's why I love non-KYC, just so you know, so I don't have to report anything of what I do. So that's it. So guys, before we continue, before we wrap this up, any questions or are you guys interested in something? Let me know.
So on my end, it's all pretty clear.
Perfect. All right. So if you got something else before we wrap it up, I need more than that. What is it? Just keep it above 2K to make it worth it. I need more than that. Well, then you can, instead of trading in Coinbase, you just basically keep your bulk of your money there, and then you trade like bluffing or somewhere else, maybe. Will that benefit you? I don't know. I'm not sure. Also, if we take a look at crypto bubbles, right now it's a mixed bag, right? Between Fartcoin going lower, Aave going higher. This is just part of those sporadic ones. Remember that when I look at this and I use this indicator to counter trade these things, right? So basically, they already have moved to a downside. I'm looking for a long, right? If the conditions are correct. Remember, this is just a guidance, right? Then Aave, it moved up. I'm looking for a short on Aave then. So that will be it for today, guys. Thank you so much. Oh, let me see. Let me, guys, invite you. I mean, I know it's late, but there you go. At least I did invite you guys. So guys, thank you so much for joining today. Hopefully we can do this more often. I see you guys. I guess I see you guys today in Trading with OC. That starts in 2 hours and 15 minutes. Yeah, absolutely. So guys, hopefully you have enough. Caliphant, what's up?
See.
Yep.
Then I want to take a look at Venice token.
A what?
Venice token.
What its sticker?
VVV.
Oh. This one on Binance, VVVV, 3 Vs, right?
It was making some nice gains the past days. Billy called it.
Nice. Is this the one that I'm looking at?
Yes.
Right, perfect. So let's do a quick overview here. We have a trend line here, right? And we also have another trend line somewhere around this place. So we're making a downwards wedge, all right? Usually these kind of wedges, they tend to break to the upside. Something interesting is that we already have a flip of the ribbon. It seems like we're not going to make it all the way up because we haven't had a big reaction, all right? That means that for now, this projection is going to move over time, all right? So we have big support with dynamic reactor. That's still a good area to be calling out the shots. Let's see, do we have something else? Not really. Well, this could be saving us from what seems to be going on right now. All right, perfect. What I believe that we're going to be seeing, it's a little bit more like this, all right? What happens when we have this kind of movement? We have a further continuation or sweep of the lows, right? So I believe that we're going to have this and then a drop to the upside, right? So I believe that the next thing is going to happen, it is sweep of the lows. If the timing it's correct, we could be looking at a fake out, then breakout, retest, off we go to this zone, all right? So far, I will be looking for entries either at the breakout retest or at the sweep of the lows, or better yet, as when I'm breaking through my zero line in here. That is for the 12 hours. Let me see the 4 hours. I believe that it's going to be basically the same thing. Well, we have a bullish divergence. All right. We're trying to break to the upside. It is more bullish in the 4 hours so far. So again, a sweep of the lows could be happening faster than I was predicting. And then up we go. So the same analysis remains. The only difference is that we have a much deeper trend line here, which could be pushing that sweep of the lows faster. So that's what I got, Jesse. Thanks for bringing it up, my friend.
Definitely. Yeah, thanks. No problem.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Always trying to help the community.
Absolutely. There's one more request before we wrap it up. That would be WIF. So let's take a look at WIF right now before we head out. So let's do WIF. By the way, be careful, be very careful with WIF because it's a meme coin. So basically the same thing, something that I'm kind of liking is that seems like we found a support line. Something interesting it is that we did not broke through the upside. Usually when we have a support, we create sort of like a double bottom and then with strength, we break to previous highs, re-support, and then off we go. Yes, it looks like we have some strength, but look at your indecision candle at the very end, right? So almost non-existent body, non-existent candle shadows or wicks, and that could be a star. So that is indecision. What could we be looking for at this point for long entry? Well, then we'll be break to the zero line and then see what is your support.
There between, around Silver Spring, Summer Spring, then the area is a little bit west of Lincoln. So that's when to expect these to arrive there.
And then we went out
Of our viewing area.
Well, I thought it was a question. TBB, I think your microphone open. I don't know, let me know if that was a question, because I don't think I caught it. Oh, perfect, got it. So what's going to happen here? We are basically at the center of the movement. So there's nothing to do right now other than wait, right? I'm not going to try to guess what's going to happen here because it's just too dangerous. Something that I see by turning on my indicators, and now this is now piquing my interest way much more, is that we have a high order block at the top. So any movement to the upside, well then this is highly bullish, but still a resistance, all right? Any move to the upside, if we can withstand any retracement, I think the next one will already consume the negative and we only have positive orders, which could be absorbing, not rejecting that much, and then pushing its movement, right? I think that the safest bet will be waiting for the breakout of the trend line or a bounce off the 0 line in here for WIF. So that's what I got. All right, guys, now it's time for me to call it out. I do have another thing that's waiting for me right now. Nonetheless, thank you so much for joining today. Really appreciate you guys jumping in. And of course, when you join in here, let me know what are your requests. I can always squeeze them in throughout the classes or throughout questions or anything like that. But yeah, I'm in a short 7x. Ooh, man.
Really much appreciated, OC.
My pleasure, buddy. Let me just finish up with that. You're in a short 7x. It's not that bad. 7x is not that bad. You still have a good buffering zone. Depending where you grabbed your short, hopefully you grabbed it at here. If you just enter your short, you still have a chance to make it. All right, right there, perfect. So 7x means that you're not that much in profits. I would say keep your stop loss. Do your stop loss and keep it. Not financial advice. Not financial advice, but this is why. If you keep your stop loss should be somewhere around here. At least, better yet, somewhere around here, right? That means that you can go for your trend line, all right? And then on the way down, exit with a profit. Oh, you cannot see my screen. Thank you. All right, not financial advice. All right, one more time. Why I'm saying to keep it, if you enter right here, your stop loss should be somewhere around here. So you can still go up into the negative, into the high negative order block, rejection, get out at profits. And right here, get out. All right, but keep your stop loss. All right, whatever you put your stop loss, keep it. Could be that you get hit, but remember, you're taking the risk. I would, if it's at 7x, it's not even 10x. So I would keep it, depending if that's still a 3% of your wallet. I would keep it, just so you know. All right, so my pleasure, brother. But remember, that needs to be below or at least 3% of your, at max 3% of your wallet for that position, and use your stop loss. All right. So if you get hit, well, then you knew what you were going into, right? So the risk, it's there. But I think you have a solid chance to catch the move to the downside, just so you know. So again, not financial advice, but I would keep it. All right, guys. So now I do need to go. Guys, thank you so much for joining. And as always, I guess see you guys today at night. Bye-bye, guys.